everything works if you do it consistently.
Yep.
You know, so every couple of years there's a new thing or whatever, and if you are consistent, the difference is most people, like, they throw up something, nothing happens, and they're like, forget it. But that's like going to the gym one time and saying, I'm not ripped, I don't get it, I went, I did the workout.
You actually do a great, like, how ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, Steve Harvey, I don't always have, but when I get into it and I find it, it's like he just gets so excited about every, like, he'll ask, like, what you do for a living? You a waitress. You prefer black coffee, a little creamer? Oh, she put milk in the coffee.
Contracts, really important to do. It covers you and it covers the client that you're working with. I just kind of wung it for the last several years, and then I was starting to ramp up and get a little bit more credibility to me, and I kind of realized with too close calls of like payment not coming through until the last minute, I was like, oh, okay.
Even if things don't get to the goals that you want to get to, they all lead to different things, and putting the systems in place to do things consistently is what eventually leads to success, not setting a goal that's just lofty living in your head. And one of the things he talked about, I think off of that was, you know, I changed my process to being systems oriented more than goal oriented.
It sounds like a weird thing to say out loud, but we all have influence over others. We all have somebody's ear. We all have somebody that if we talk to, they'll listen to what we have to say. And if you start building on that with more of your friends, and then their friends of a friend start following you, you can slowly ramp it up and build it up. But essentially what we need to be thinking about it as is, they're all your friends. Even if you haven't met them before, if you treat your followers or subscribers as friends, you'll have that better relationship with them in the long run.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Foureva podcast. It's your boy, it's your host, Jamar Jones. I'm the owner of Foureva Media. I'm a speaker and also the author of the book, Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. And we got an awesome episode for you today, as we're going to be really diving into content creation and really life as a creator. Being an introvert myself, but I love to create, so I have to really live in both of those worlds. And we're going to be got some amazing guests here today, and we're going to bring them onto the show right now. And I can't wait for this. Randy, he is with me on this podcast. There he is.
Boom.
And he queued all this stuff up, which is awesome because I can't wait to dive into some really impactful questions to really help the audience really learn about content creation, and then just the story, the backstory of how these amazing gentlemen got to where they're at today. We got Jmatt. Bring him in here. We got Jmatt, and we got
Boom
Ami.
shakalaka.
What's going on? Welcome to the Foureva podcast. Welcome to the show, guys. I'm not going to do a horrible job of trying to introduce you guys, so I want you guys to give us that 30-second, bumper of who you are. So go ahead, Jmatt, kick it off, and then Ami, go ahead and finish it up.
Well, for the case of this podcast, I'm a TikToker. I focus on City of Milwaukee content, showcasing the city in the best light that I can. Prior to that, I used to be a DJ on 103.7 KISS FM, a top 40 radio station. I do a lot of freelance content creation. I also work for an ad agency in Milwaukee called Hoffman York as a senior content strategist. And then I do something called the 22 Push-Up Challenge for suicide prevention and awareness. Been doing that for 5.5 years in a row with daily content on Instagram.
Sweet.
I just make videos and stuff. I don't know.
Oh God.
Thank you, Jmatt. Wow, that was quite a list of. You're a busy guy. And I am as well. I am Ami Kozak. I'm a musician and comedian. I write music for film and television. I play in a band called Distant Cousins, and we've done a lot of work in film and TV as well, doing custom theme songs, kids shows, had a lot of our songs used in commercials, films, TVs, and trailers. And more recently, I've dove headfirst into the world of comedy, creating comedic content online on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, doing all sorts of impressions. I've also been doing a lot of stand-up over the past year and a half, and now based on the East Coast. I was in LA 10 years, and now I'm here on the East Coast, diving headfirst into the comedy scene here, doing a lot of collaborations and more comedic content as I continue to develop and grow my audience online.
Dude, this is incredible. So, got Randy. I mean, I don't know if you do want to introduce yourself.
Man, I got all kinds. You know, I'm infamous. I need no introduction. I'm infamous.
So first, I got a real quick question, because, my book's all about, I've changed my circle many times throughout my life, and I'm literally doing it right now with this conference, Lead the Movement Business Conference. And people are literally watching it live of me changing my circle again. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys both talked about different areas, different industries, different things. How did you constantly start, with changing your circle? Did you see yourself in this position 10 years ago? How did this happen?
Short answer, yes. Just kidding. No, I mean, everything evolves and flows into each other. Ami made a joke about I'm so busy. Ami's pretty busy as well. But I've always had multiple jobs at one time, because that's how there's like problems in other jobs that are solved by the other jobs. They all kind of overflow, and eventually you make it to where you are at.
And life takes different turns too. Like, you've had a lot of changes and turns. You wouldn't be probably doing TikTok if the whole world didn't get upended and get changed, or you wouldn't have been doing it as heavy, maybe. And maybe that's my assumption. You tell us, what else has redirected the flow of your life?
I mean, sure, a pandemic happened and it pivoted a lot of us in a direction we didn't expect to be in. But if it wasn't a pandemic, it'd be something else. You just can't really expect the wild cards that you're going to get dealt in life. And you just kind of have to go with the flow. And if you're abrasive to change, you're just not going to change. You're not going to evolve and get to your true potential.
100%. All right, we got to hit Ami now, because we got questions. We should have introed him as Gary frickin' V, because he crushes that one. And also your Jordan Peterson are my two favorites. I'm a fan of your other ones. But tell us anything you want, man. I want you to talk about whatever, but we definitely got to talk about how you became Gary V, because that's a great story.
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting. The Gary V, you want to hear specifically how I became Gary V? And
you tell us whatever you want, just whatever.
Well, on the heels of what Jmatt said, in terms of being able to predict where you're going to be, I think that the entertainment business in general is an interesting space, in that you have all these different lanes, and the same rules kind of apply to each lane, but they don't always really intersect. So if you apply yourself in one, for example, in my case, that was music as sort of my first go ahead when I started, working in the business. I was doing music, and I always had impressions and bits and ideas and jokes and stuff, but there was not really an avenue then of a way to express it organically and kind of do it on your own, in the way that you could, if you had a song, you could record it. Those technologies came first, in terms of the ability to create your own music and release it to the world and distribute it through Spotify and building up your own audience. Those technologies were there before there was any way to do that for comedy. So it wasn't until, so I was applying myself in that area and, growing an audience with my band, and we were looking to film and TV to get our stuff licensed and synced in that world. And that's how we were kind of organically growing our audience. And social media was always sort of looked at as this promotional tool. Like, you do that when you have a show coming up, or you have a song coming out. For a lot of bands and musicians, we look at it as like, we've already done all the work creatively. We're exhausted creatively. We've made the records, we played the shows, we've rehearsed, we've done all the creative work in that department. And now it's time for promotion and marketing. So we get on and say, hey, come check out our show, come check out our song. And I always looked at social media that way. And what I discovered in doing comedy was, it wasn't until I started looking at using TikTok, when TikTok was sort of not a household name yet. I started just saying, I'm going to treat this one differently. I'm just going to put out a video on a daily basis, and for the first time be consistent with it. And after a few months of doing daily videos, 5 days a week, I take 2 days off on the weekends, but 5 days a week, a video a day. One day I was just sitting in my car, and I threw up my phone. I said, I'm just so sick of fucking 20, 40-year-olds complaining, right? That they're not killing it. Like, if you want to win, fucking move to Louisiana and start a fucking peanut butter brand, right? Like, fucking peanut butter, blueberry. Like, so I threw that up in my car because I came across.
I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I'm so glad it did.
It's quite the buildup for sure.
I'll give you what you want. I came across. My mission wasn't to be like, I'm going to become the next Gary V impersonator, world renowned. I just was doing different impressions. I was doing Gilbert Gottfried. I was doing Bernie Sanders. Oh. Okay, so what you have to understand, I was throwing up Bernie Sanders, whatever. Like, of course, look, we're here with Randy and Jamar, Foureva Media, circles, squares, 1%, 99%. I was just throwing up random things. One day I did a Gary V thing, and a lot of TikTokers will have this story of the video that after the videos just clicks, and that video, I did like 1 or 2 Gary V videos. The second one I posted just ended up blowing up a little bit, got shared by Barstool Sports on Instagram. And then I started got some advice from other creators about leaning into the stuff like your hit songs, in a sense, like your hit hits.
Of course.
I started leaning into Gary V. The same thing happened with Jordan Peterson, where I was like in my car and I threw up like a video of just asking Jordan Peterson for directions. It was like nothing thing. I was like about to go inside and I was like, let me just do one of these. And it was like, Jordan Peterson for directions. It's like, hey, how do you get to Roxbury Park? Well, it's like, you can make a left, but you don't want to go too far to the left, because we don't know when the left can go too far. It's like, well, but you don't want to go to the right because if you go too far to the right, you become a bloody tyrant. So that's what I would say, and that one on YouTube just gave me a subscriber base on YouTube. But it was really the consistency of everything, doing everything consistently that led to that. But I feel like I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent. But the point is, I discovered in doing these videos that, social media platforms are the show, not the commercial. They're not the means of promoting yourself. They are the show. You're not getting on there to tell people to go see fun stuff somewhere else. And I realized, it's so obvious. Like this is, and thank God these platforms have allowed me to express my comedic side, via Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and build an audience that way. There wasn't before that. It was going to auditions to try to get on a sitcom or do a showcase or whatever. What are you going to do? Right. So now,
now the sitcoms are the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to your TikTok show.
Exactly. So it's been pretty empowering. It's been a pretty empowering time for the independent creator, artist, comic, whatever, musician.
Yeah, opportunities are endless now. It's insane. I mean, just even so when I was doing music. I was a hip hop artist for like 12 years of my life, performed all over the place, did 2 tours, doing like 100 shows a year. And back then it was just getting into Facebook too. So like it was like the MySpace and then Facebook. There was no like the streaming platform that was like SoundCloud. And back then, but it's just crazy now because like the reach is so crazy, especially with TikTok. And then you got all the streaming platforms. It's like your message and what you do, you could just take off. I just watched a whole documentary on how Post Malone got found out, and that was through SoundCloud. And then he passed it off to one person in the music industry, then passed it off to a bunch of people. And then all of a sudden, the guy that's making music in his basement, all of a sudden is doing White Iverson. It's like, what the heck, man?
I mean, they're all like different fitness regimens, like everything works if you do it consistently, so every couple of years, there's a new thing or whatever. And if you are consistent, the difference is most people like they throw up something, nothing happens, and they're like, forget it. But that's like going to the gym one time and saying, I'm not ripped. I don't get it. I went. I did the workout.
It takes more than once at the gym. Oh, I've been doing it.
So if you just, I feel like, that's one thing that. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
no. Keep going. I was gonna make the obligatory joke about your like thousands of push-ups every day. But
push-ups.
But I could still only do 22.
You don't need the gym. You're doing push-ups.
I want to hear about that, Matt. What's the push-up challenge?
So 5.5 years ago, I got challenged into this thing by a friend. We'll call him a friend. I'm just kidding. He's a good friend. You get challenged to participate for 22 days in a row where you do 22 push-ups for. There's no easy segue to this. At the time, 22 combat veterans that died by suicide every day. And the number is more around 17 now based on a 2019 statistic. And I haven't seen anything updated since then. I don't know how the pandemic has impacted it. but it is a challenge to spread awareness and prevention. And it was intended for those first 22 days. And every day that you do it, you get to challenge someone new. But along the way, I saw some guy doing it for a year. I was like, oh, I'll go for a little longer. And then I got to a year and the guy was still going. I was like, man, I'm going to catch this guy one day. Still haven't caught him. He's still got the exact same lead for the last 5.5 years. But now we chat all the time. It's pretty cool. And it's just been a really great way to address my own mental health issues and kind of take ownership of it. So that's kind of why I've stuck with it so long.
Right. Okay, so Jmatt and I are both doing funny bits tonight, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Impressions and suicide prevention.
Yep. There you go.
No, like
Mood
what I want to say
right
about
here.
that, and I've told Jmatt
that's
this.
important.
I've never done anything like that for like 5 years every single day of my life. Like I mean, get up, brush my teeth, eat. Like that's crazy cool that you have done that for that long. And I love that dedication. And it keys off of exactly what Ami said about being dedicated and doing something over and over and over. And it's not that noticeable when it's 3 months of doing push-ups, but when it's how many, I want to kick it back to you. How many are you doing, or how many have you done? Give us your stats, because it's super impressive. And also then just talk about that with consistency and creation. Tell us about TikTok. Hit us with some extra.
All right. So I think today was day 2,038 days in a row. We celebrated day 2,000, which I couldn't have planned it this way. Seriously. It landed on my birthday, day 2,000. So we got a little bit of news coverage to kind of promote that, hey, I've been doing this for so long. But I also get out like prevention tools of like the crisis text line, where you can text hello to 741-741. Or you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. But that's a mouthful. And I only memorized it because I've been doing it for so long. There is a shorter code now. It just got passed mid-July. It is 988. So if you call 988, it'll redirect you to the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The long number still works. So like if you have a card somewhere and that's the only number you know, it still works. But yeah, my big core there is always getting the resources out. It's in every single post. Sometimes I call attention to it in the video, but I mean, as much as we hype the daily, the consistency is a lot to take on. And when I started this out, I think the first year I put captions on the videos because I really wanted to engage people and try to find a way to keep it entertaining. But man, I don't have the time for that anymore. So like adding captions to a video can take up to half an hour, if not more, because you're trying to come up with a good story to tell every single day. And I was doing that. Now I just really try to focus on changing the location so that at least there's something different. And I know there's guys that do it where you just see them in their basement every day, or you see them in the gym every day. I'm like, I'm bored. I get what the challenge is, but I need something visually different to keep me engaged, to keep me wanting to watch your content more, which would then give it more reach and more impressions and potentially get to the people that need to hear it.
Right. Yeah. More importantly, Jmatt, show us your triceps.
I'm not strong at all. They were joking about it. It was like
they gotta be big, man. Come on,
I can't. I'm not even that strong. Look, see.
But you do 22. Do you do more than 22, or is it? Oh,
my body, my mind will get to 18, and it always checks out every day. It's just like, 4 more, okay. Yeah. And I know if I had like pushed myself beyond that for this whole time, I'd be able to do 100 or whatever. I think if I really tried, I probably could do 30 in a row. It's not impressive. It really isn't. But it's 22 more than I thought I could do when I got challenged. So
I love all the dope places that you do it at too. That's the awesome. Like you go down his feed and you just see all these different locations. Oh, yeah. Different people are doing it with you. It's cool, you know. You go for different events to like just like literally in the street, you know. It's just like
I get invited to MC events all the time, and they're like, "Oh, will you do the push-ups at our event?" And I was like, "Wow, sure." I got to do it at some point during the day.
For you, Ami. That's for you. Yeah. Come on and do these push-ups, man. Come on and do some curls.
I'm not a bad. I can do it. I can do push-ups. Not comfortably, but I can get it. I can get them in. This is triggering my Andrew Tate. It's like, doesn't matter if you don't want to do them. You got to do them.
I got the guy from Sister Hazel.
It doesn't matter. You wake up, you don't feel like doing push-ups. Do it.
If the guy from Sister Hazel can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. Sister Hazel?
Yeah, that like 90s band.
Sure.
Dude, I like that.
Yeah, great band, like the music, and I was just
Mhm.
thrilled when I like sent out a bunch of messages at Summerfest to artists like, "Hey, do you want to do push-ups with me?" I was like, "I'm gonna send one to Sister Hazel, see if that happens." And I honestly was surprised when it bounced back and said, "Yeah, we're in." It's like, "Yes, let's do this." So,
Wow. What was their hit song, Sister Hazel? It's killing me.
gosh, don't
I
test
remember
me.
they were specifically on the movie Bedazzled because for some reason I really liked that movie. I don't
Right.
want to admit that live, but I did really like Bedazzled with Brendan
You
Fraser.
just did. You
It
just
was
I did.
good.
After I got into it. Elizabeth Hurley was hot, all right? And
Gorgeous.
and I still use that line when I try to say I don't know Spanish, like hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Dónde estás a la biblioteca? Like that's all he could say when he turned into the Spanish guy, which was just awesome. Like he ends up being a drug lord because the devil tricked him. Anyway,
Donde
we're going
está
off the rails here.
Randy? Donde está la biblioteca is from Encino Man. You're mixing up Brendan Fraser movies.
No, I'm gonna cut in on this thing and I'll show you. That's when he becomes the Colombian drug lord. He says that to the guy, and
He
he's
goes,
like,
"It's cocaína. It's
Yes.
cocaína."
That's Bedazzled.
But
or
Encino Man
whatever.
is Donde está la biblioteca? And then he says, "Where is the bathroom?"
Donde estás al baño? Is
But
that
It's
is that
Encino
like
Man.
maybe
I'm
it's
telling
his thing? Maybe it's his thing. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger always has to say, "I'll be back." Maybe I didn't
Ow.
realize it.
He has
But
to always say,
Brendan
"Ow."
Fraser,
Could
I'll be
be.
back.
Yeah.
We're gonna fact check this. You are gonna get fact checked,
like-
my
it's
friend.
like-
I'm going to stand my ground here
Heated
and say,
debate.
"Donde está la biblioteca?" and "Where is the bathroom?" in Spanish is from Encino Man, because those are the only Spanish he learns. And then when he's Spanish in Bedazzled, he can speak fluent Spanish. Why would he not know Spanish? He became a Colombian drug lord. He just didn't.
I don't know. He's shocked by it, so he tells his butler that, and the guy looks at him like, "What is wrong with you?" But anyway,
We could have a repeat. I can give you that. Maybe
we're gonna
used it
bring
all
you
wrong.
back, and we're gonna see who's right and who's dead.
Mhm.
I'm seeing something with the quote, "The cheese is moldy, where's the bathroom?"
Yes, that also sounds believable.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I stand corrected. If he was like, "You wouldn't believe my Spanish teacher would see me now," and he starts saying,
Yeah.
"Donde está la biblioteca?" Okay, maybe.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
The cheese is
But,
moldy. Where's the bathroom? Jmatt has fact checked us.
And I mean, I was just curious about Sister Hazel's song, and that's all for you. So I had to look up the answer to both of our questions.
Okay, and that's what.
Hard
Thank
to
you for
say
getting
what
us.
it is I see in you. Wonder if
Oh,
I'll always
Always
be with you.
you.
Working,
Words
praying,
instead.
I can't do it. Time to prove it. It's all for you.
The push-ups,
Oh.
yeah, exactly.
It's hard
That was
to
not
say
the song,
what
That's
it
the
but that is a
reminder
better
that he's
song.
a musician.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
hard to say what it is I see in you. That's it. Now we got it. Wonder
Nailed
if
it.
I'll always be
To you
with
is hilarious.
I'm impressed that you knew the lyrics right off of that title of the song.
There you go. I needed
No,
needed the launch.
That's perfect. So Sister Hazel, they're back. They were at Summerfest. That was awesome. You also were hanging out, Jmatt, with Red Bull. They recruited you for the Flutag to do that, and you got to be a judge with Donald Driver, a local hero, beloved Packer, and he did the push-ups with you too.
He did, yeah. We had like 2 minutes of downtime between the end of the judging and the award ceremony. I was like, "Hey, man, I do this thing called the 22 push-up challenge," and he's like, "Yeah, I know about it." I was like, "Oh, well, then I don't have to go into a whole spiel. Want to do them with me?" And that guy, it might be the most fit person I've ever done them with. And like, we get to like 16, and I'm like, I'm not gonna keep up with this guy. He's going way too fast. And I had to lean over. I literally looked over at him. I was like, I can't keep up with you. And he slowed down just enough so we could finish in sync.
Aw,
Nice.
and he's got a heart of gold.
I know.
Now we love him even more.
Green and gold, a heart of
Now
green
he's
and
like,
gold.
"Let's do another 22
Wow.
with both my hands."
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, we can go all the way to 100, right? Probably good.
And now
No,
another
let's-
22.
Here's something I want to know from both of you, though, which you can tell us as much. You can lie. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Working with Red Bull for Jmatt and also getting to be on Gary V. Because when I talk about you being on Gary V, I'm like, that son of a, he stole my great idea. As if it wasn't obvious. As if it wasn't obvious.
Story, because he was telling me he was talking to you about it, and then like
I freaking
I think
saw
it was,
you
like,
on
2
Gary V. I'm
weeks
like,
or 2 or 3 weeks later, it was like announced that's what was happening there. And then he's like, dude, I just talked to this guy about this. So I don't know if that was in the works before, or if you were like, hey, what we could do.
You're like, what a great idea. How original.
You mean the main stage, yeah?
Dude,
Yeah.
that was epic. And all your behind the scenes content, all the celebrities that you got to,
It
to
was
shake
great.
hands. I think
I'm
you
still
pumped a
rolling them
few
out,
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you were also pretending, and some people were actually thinking you were Gary Vee, I believe, as well.
That happened too.
Well,
The context is I was invited to perform at VCon, the inaugural Gary V NFT conference, for all of his attendees. That all the attendees have to own a VFriend, Gary V's signature NFTs. And we coordinated to open the entire conference with a big ceremony of me, Gary V, and another Gary V impersonator, Nima Naz, on stage. It was pretty epic. And then I got to hang out as Gary V in character. Everybody there knew who I was. It was like the one place. It's funny, like outside of that, no one knows who I am. But there at the Gary V conference, they all know who I was. So it was a lot of fun. And yeah, it was like, the Gary V impression is like a secret weapon. I could go up to Pharrell and be like, Pharrell, honestly, like I believe in happiness, and I think you do too, right? Like a room without a fucking roof, right? I just want you to be happy, and I think you want to be happy too, right? Because I'm happy, like a room without a roof. Like I could just do that, and it's fine.
Dude.
Like crazy. Snoop Dogg is there, and I could say like, Snoop D-O-double-G. It's great, but you should change it to D-O-double-V. Like I really believe that, right? Like because it is right, like right. Yeah. So
Winston, the voice is what I love the most.
Do you practice in the mirror? Do you practice these impressions?
He has to.
You don't have to practice in the mirror. I think you kind of know when you have it and when you don't. It's like a click light switch moment. You go, oh, there it is, and then you can sort of like it's like a puzzle piece. When you're trying to get it, you're trying to like make it work. What is it? And sometimes you kind of can fit it sometimes, but once it gets integrated, you're like, oh, link. There it is.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you do better, and I have to tell you this because Jamar and I have had debate about who we like as a Gary Vee impersonator better. And what we do, we'll say first what we like about you said is he go by Neem? Is it Neem?
Nima Naz.
Nima. What I love about what Nima does is it's so ridiculous. It's so over the top. Couldn't believe that it's him. High pitched. But he commits to it too.
This is more like appeal like
Yeah.
Garage sales? It's like really appeal like man. That's like the Nima Naz impression. It's like garage sales. And mine is a little more like, there's a little more, I kind of take turns with it. It's like the Rubio, like everybody else's opinion, right? Like, I go a little more like,
you're more like
conversational,
character.
like conversation, right? And Nima's like, we're like, come on in. Like, so they both have their funny, we had a good time. He's a sweet guy. He's a good comic.
No, when I told Jamar, I was like, dude, you nail the details with it. And you do the same thing with Jordan Peterson. Like when you do like it's kind of like, you got to tease it apart. Like you nail the impersonation.
He's not a leprechaun. They're always after me. They're always after my bloody Lucky Charms. It's not luck.
It is not doing impersonation.
I forgot he's Canadian, don't you know? I know it sounds like something,
Canadian,
but hey, that's
bloody Albertan. They're always after my Lucky Charms. It's not luck. You make your own bloody luck, Bucko. So that's what I would say.
It's the details. Great. It's the details in Gary Vee. And so so what he does is his is so over the top and so exaggerated, but it's funny. But what you do is you nail it down to like all of the aspects to where someone could actually believe it's you. And then I love the nuance of that. I love the nuance of the mannerisms. I love the little, what is that? Like the little squint, like the,
Well, like I don't know, like 70% of the impression is the visual more than the sound, like I look like me now, but if I was Gary Vee, it would be like,
yeah. That's why I'm like, you gotta look in the mirror, man. Like that, you gotta do it.
I understand, but before you say anything, and if I was and Jordan Peterson is like,
yeah, yes.
don't know why his lips are so close together.
That's his thinking face, I think.
Oh,
But you
shit,
do
man.
other people, and I like. Okay, the cool thing you do is you will test out material like any good comic will do. You test it out a lot on your podcasts. You'll be like, "Oh, I'm working on a new impression." You'll do it on social too, but like, "Oh, I think I'm playing with Steve Harvey," and then you'll nail that one. And I'm like, "Dude, he nails Steve Harvey. That's great." And then you'll make the two characters. Even Mel Robbins, you actually do a great. Like how ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, Steve Harvey, I don't always have, but when I get into it and I find it, it's like he just gets so excited about every, like he'll ask like, "What you do for a living?" "You a waitress." "What kind of waitress?" "She serve coffee. She serve coffee. She serve coffee." "Oh, what kind of coffee?" "You prefer black coffee, a little creamer?" Oh, she put milk in the coffee." "Oh, okay, maybe you and I get some coffee." Okay. You know, so there's a little bit of the Steve Harvey there. And then who was the other one you mentioned? Oh, Mel Robbins.
No. Yes.
Yeah, so,
well, you got to put the wig on for that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the rule. Yeah, when I wake up in the morning and I take a piss, I realize, wow, I just expelled the negativity. Peeing is a pattern interrupt. And sometimes I'll piss my pants during the day just from laughing. That's a good thing, you know. Mel Robbins.
So good. So good you could turn it on too so quick.
Yeah, I have my Mel Robbins wig right here. Boom.
You were ready.
Boom.
You heard video and you're like, all right, I'll have the costume here.
Just
I'm
ready
in character.
Boom. I mean, it's all in my studio.
Oh, for a second there, I couldn't tell the difference.
So I got a question. And Jmatt, I'll let you kick it off. What's because we talk a lot about consistency for sure, but now that you guys are both content creators, what's 3 tips that you can like give that are just must-haves? Like when it comes to content creation, when it comes to promoting a brand, when it comes to engaging with maybe partnerships or brand deals, just give us some tips, man. Like from the inception of content, but also to the operations and kind of the business side of it.
Hit us with the heat, Jmatt. We know you know it.
So my buddy's gonna listen to this later, and he's gonna give me a hard time because he keeps giving me a hard time about this. Until this year, I didn't do this. I'll get to it, and it's contracts. Really important to do. It covers you and it covers the client that you're working with. I just kind of wung it for the last several years, and then I was starting to ramp up and get a little bit more credibility to me, and I kind of realized with 2 close calls of like payment not coming through until the last minute, I was like, oh, okay. I should probably tidy myself up, do some contracts, make it clear like what I'm offering, what they're offering, even down to the detail of like how many revisions will you provide to a video, because I had a client in the past ask for 4 different revisions, and by the 4th I was just like, no, let's just post this is great, you're just nitpicking. So contracts, don't sleep on those. If you're just starting out, it's totally cool to kind of play around, but realistically, if you're trying to grow a little bit quicker than just playing around, you kind of have to niche down. You got to pick what's your interest that you feel like you can actively talk about consistently. Like, can you think of 20 topics about whatever you want to pick? Then go do that. If you're thinking of something you really enjoy, but you're like, I can only think of like 3 things I'd talk about it, that's not your niche. So, and then I would also say that while you're picking what kind of content you want to make, if you're like, oh man, everybody does this. Let's say it's sports commentating. Oh, there's so many out there. Yeah, true. But nobody's you, and nobody has your insights into what you want to talk about. So as you develop your personality, or maybe you already have it, you're going to be giving a unique take that is uniquely yours. So just because it's oversaturated doesn't mean you can't enter and play in the field.
Oh man,
that's good.
Fire. That's fire.
Dude.
Yeah. Can I add to that? Because I think that's some value in what Jmatt's talking about, is that there's like a first step before getting into that mindset. I think a lot of people miss, because that's exactly right. As you like, all those ideas are very valuable and become revealed to you, but you have to first start posting. Like a lot of people think, okay, let me decide that it's going to be this or this or this. Whatever it is that you decide, putting in the time of consistently posting and getting through that painful, sloppy, not the most representative content of maybe what your best work will be, that's what will reveal to you what you really are and what's comfortable and what your voice is. And I think a lot of people will be too much stuck in their heads because they're like trying to pick the topic, or like, well, now I'm stuck on like, what can I talk about? What do I have permission to talk about? But you won't know any of those things until you just start engaging with the platforms and the process of posting consistently. Like my very first videos were one thing and they morphed and evolved with time. I'm sure Jmatt, it was the same for you, where you eventually kind of find your way through it, but you have to apply yourself first before the niche is revealed to you. I don't know, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that too, Jmatt, but
I want to know, like, not related directly to this, what did you start out with for your content? I know you've done a lot of different things, but you said you evolved. Nudes? Oh, OnlyFans, got it. Love that.
Before there was OnlyFans, I was just getting banned every day. No, I'm kidding.
Couldn't make any money.
This is your
Nobody
fifth
would
account.
subscribe.
My very first stuff was like live looping music stuff, which I still want to bring back into the fold, but it was literally like in 2019, putting up a GoPro because I didn't know how to film anything, and I use an iPhone, but I was like, back in the day, but pre-TikTok, you were trying to compete with very like high-res production YouTube videos. Like the reason I felt like there was a barrier to entry for me was, well, I can't hire a video guy and do this whole music video every time I want to make content. That's the content creators in like, pre-TikTok were, YouTube had evolved to the point where everything was looking very high-res. And it wasn't until Vine into TikTok where things started to look more raw. So I was trying to say, well, how can I make a shot look cool? I take a little GoPro, I put it up, and I could record the audio well because I had experience doing that. So I was just like live looping and making music, Reggie Watt style, just like for like a 7-minute chunk, and I try to edit it down a little bit. And it was just like little music bits. And then I started doing impressions and comedy with TikTok more. This was like Instagram pre-TikTok, before there was TikTok. So that was like the first content, and the lighting is terrible, and there's I was facing the wrong way with the window, and I'm just a big shadow,
yeah, you're washed out. Oh, that's the worst. I hate that on Teams calls. You're like, come on.
And I realized I filmed the whole Facebook live stream where my head was cropped out. I didn't know, but that's the unpleasant. And it took
you gotta go through those mistakes so you know how to avoid them.
And it would take hours to like get it right, and I'd be like, I'd shut the AC off, and it was just like, woo, it was hard. But going through all that to get to like where you could, like this. People assume that they just know what they are, and then I have to put that out, but they don't know what's out there within themselves until they do it.
It's all about unlocking yourself to give yourself permission to go forward. As far as like with your fear and your doubts, and what do I really care about enough to actually speak publicly about this stuff? It's a lot of unlocking yourself, which is very interesting.
Quantity leads to quality, not quantity versus quality. It's a Gary V-ism. I have learned a few things.
You're not just talking shit about it.
Like, yo, this is what it is, man.
Yeah. So it's true. It's like putting in the reps, and then all of a sudden you have like a body of work, like the way fitness works. Like you don't know how you're going to apply your in-shape self, but working out is still necessary for anything. Then you'll go out into the world and do it.
Yeah,
that's so good. Well,
sure.
I'll ask both of you this, and either one of you can jump on. I think a lot of people are afraid, kind of like Jamar said, to take that leap. They're afraid to put themselves out there. They're afraid that they're not going to stay consistent. They have all these things around it that they hide in, maybe perfectionism and a little bit of being just lazy and not wanting to do it. So what like got you through to being like, no, I'm going to keep doing this? Like, how did your mindset switch from like, yeah, I'll kind of play with this or I'll do something, to then being like, I'm doing it every day. I'm doing it consistently, even when I suck, even when nobody cares, even when it's not getting the views that maybe you might hope and people aren't appreciating it? How did you get through that?
I would say a lot of people, like, it's weird to say the pandemic was a good thing, because like largely it wasn't, but the pandemic gave me a lot of downtime because I lost my job during the pandemic. And with that downtime as a creative person, I was like, how do I express that creativity? How do I get that out there? And I was like, okay, I'm just going to challenge myself to post daily to TikTok. And at the time, I only had like 25,000 followers. And granted, like you're hearing me say only 25,000 followers, like TikTok's a weird place. You can blow up real fast. Back 2 years ago, you could get 20,000 followers overnight. It's a little harder now, but it just kind of gave me that outlet to be consistent and be trying out all the different things. I didn't really have a niche back then. I just did it all. And now that I've got a decent following and I've got a good idea of what works and what doesn't work, I don't have to post every day anymore. Like I'd love to, but like I just don't have the capacity to do it all. And I've learned my audience really well. So I can post. Unfortunately, sometimes it is just once a week, but I do try to go for like 3 to 4 times a week. But I know generally what my audience is looking for that should perform well for them.
Yeah, for me, it was actually a very specific technical change that I made. It was on the heels of reading a book by Scott Adams. Do you guys know who Scott Adams is? He's the creator of the Dilbert comic strip, and he was he got into politics and commentary on political stuff more. But he wrote a book called like how to fail at everything and still win big. I'm getting the title wrong, but how to fail at almost everything and still win big. And it's sort of like how, throughout all the different things you go through, and even if things don't get to the goals that you want to get to, they all lead to different things. And putting the systems in place to do things consistently is what eventually leads to success, not setting a goal that's just lofty living in your head. And one of the things he talked about, I think off of that was, I changed my process to being systems oriented more than goal oriented. I didn't say to myself, I want to be on, I didn't say to myself, I want to be on VCon on the stage with Gary Vee. It's like, no, I'm going to just make videos every day and put in that process as a system. And in setting myself up to do that, one of the things that he talks about in the book is sort of setting up your creative space and your environment around you to sort of hack your own brain. Like we think we have this will and this capacity to do things. But for years I sat with this, I wish I did more comedy. I wish I did more stuff online. And that just like lived in my head. And I wanted to do it. And I wasn't able to identify why it wasn't happening because I wanted it all the same. But the difference was I literally put up a whiteboard, and this is the technical stuff, put up a whiteboard like next to my desk and wrote down like, what does it say? Like daily video. I wrote down my Instagram name and daily post daily, once, twice a day, write stand up daily. I write these things down that stare at me on a daily basis. And I think subconsciously I wrote the word podcast before I had a podcast. And now I have a podcast. For years, I was like, I'd love to have a podcast. But for some reason, putting it in tangible form next to me, giving me this visual cue every single day, sitting down, looking over it, whether I know I'm looking at it or not, was the thing that changed it and switched it into gear and got the notches in my head moving to perpetuate the just give me the momentum to get things going in a real way. So getting it out of your head and into the world.
That's really good. I think that's just human nature, and I think Atomic Habit talks a lot about that as well. Just absolutely, you have to make it simple for yourself. Have your running shoes out, have your stuff, then you'll be consistent. Sleep in your running outfit if you need to, whatever it is, make it so that you have no excuse. You have no reason to not do what you said you were going to do. And I love that. And it's simple. Like people wouldn't believe how simple it could be. And that could be what's holding them back. It's in their head of all the great things that they want to do someday, but I have excuses. I have time. I don't want to do, everyone else is so far ahead. Bunch of BS is what it is.
Yeah.
Your comment about the systems is fascinating in the sense that I keep getting asked by friends like, what's your goal? What's the big picture? What are you going to be in a few years? Like, I genuinely don't have goals and I don't know. And then people hear that and they're like, yeah, sure, you don't have goals. There's no ways you don't have any goals. But like the way you just described like content creation, that's what I do. It's just, I have a system. I'm just going to stay consistent with it and I'll go where it takes me. And I know that I have a strong system that I can trust that wherever it leads me is going to be positive and good. I don't necessarily need to have a direct goal of where I'm trying to get. I'll get there. And then when I get there, I can say, that was the goal all along. I just didn't want to tell anyone. I'm a wing it guy.
It's true. I mean, you gotta have systems. I mean, that's really all I care about right now, especially after this conference. It's just getting all the systems, the structure to make it scalable, to make it repeatable. And then that way it gives you access and gives you flexibility to do other things, to go after other goals that you may have. But I think that the systems is not talked about enough. So I think that was great as a response to really just anything that you do, but definitely with content creation, because everybody's just trying to do the super, the create side, and they're not thinking about how do I actually stay consistent and have a system around it. So that's super powerful. And I was going to ask you, Jmatt, about what's next for you, as far as like, your goal and what you want to do. And
who knows?
Great question. I know. It's a great question. I get it a lot. I should have an answer, but I don't.
So let me ask you this just real quick, because a lot of people, when they're in a space and either they're in a business or they're content creation, they feel like they get stuck. The thing is, you niche down so much where you start to feel stuck. At least, Ami, he's a comedian at heart and also within music as well. But so he's not stuck just in the Gary V, world of just that's the only impersonation he can do. He can do a lot of things, but it's a comedy level. But let's say, like in your case, Jmatt, you're very hyper focused on one city. How do you? Is the game to just grow and just develop and see what happens just within that, or will you take this and scale it to other cities?
I don't know. So I also run a networking community called #MKE, where it's like catered to content creators and social media enthusiasts in the city of Milwaukee, in the greater Milwaukee area. But literally, I will only host events in the city of Milwaukee, because I feel like people from the burbs are more likely to come to the city than people from the city are to drive out to the burbs for an event. And then other reasons too. But I think it's easier to focus small, honestly. I think a lot of people think I want to get nationwide credibility, and more power to those people. But I think your hometown, the place that you choose to be your home, I think a lot of people get big and forget where they came from. And I didn't really want to do that. I think, let's go 5 years back. Did Milwaukee have a positive impression in news and community?
No,
not at all. Not at all.
Ami probably doesn't even know where it is. He's probably like, "Where am I right now?"
It's where the
you gotta swing through, bro.
Is it in South Jersey?
South Jersey, you're right.
You gotta swing through, man. It's good out here.
Yeah.
No,
Bucks did put us on the map.
No, yeah, I'd love to come through.
Perfect.
For sure. Not in the winter. It's freezing, right? Freezing in the winters, yes?
I mean, there's something towards the end of the month that may be worthwhile stopping by. There's like a conference that's leading the movement.
There's a big
if you were a part of it.
Jmatt, you're on the sales team, bro. You're on the sales team.
You got to schmooze, and you just got to drop it in when they're not expecting it.
Oh, yeah.
And not only Ami, but everyone should buy a ticket, in my opinion.
I mean, do you want to be in the arena of the NBA champs, not of this past year, but of a time?
Of a time. You're talking. I'm not. Sports won't get me. I'm a musician.
That's fine. That's fine. Panic at the Disco performed at Fiserv Forum as one of the first acts that performed in the new arena. So I'm just saying, musicians play there. You could be that musician. You just pivot me. Oh, comedians perform there too. You want to stand up and have an audience?
Kevin Hart. He's going to be there.
True.
I've been in the Midwest like twice this year. I was in Minneapolis for VCon and for how far is Minneapolis from Milwaukee?
5-6 hours.
Okay.
It's a day drive.
All right. So maybe it's time for another visit to the Midwest. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, it's beautiful.
That'd be dope.
You follow
Jmatt, man.
Jmatt will sell you on it. He is posting all the great places to eat. He's in front of all the
Just tell me what you're into.
places.
It doesn't have to be right now, but you tell me what you're into. I'll hook you up with some good suggestions.
I have a local now. I have when you know a local, that's how you get the best
The
experience.
local guide. Yep.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you got to get the tour. I mean,
I got to get the accent down. It's the accent. I mean, sure,
yeah. Midwest nice is a thing here.
Oh, that's why we're here. We're trying to help you.
Well, when I was in Minneapolis, it's like the sentences don't end. Everyone's nice forever, and they just don't.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so we're
it's
gonna
the
get
Midwest goodbye.
So we're gonna get you hotel. You get your hotel room upstairs. We're gonna get that for you. You're gonna get your bottle of water. There's gonna be something in there. You can call down anytime you want. When's the resolve in the sentence? It doesn't ever end, don't you know? So it's just kind of like, oh my god.
That's how we never leave a conversation. You say goodbye 15 minutes before you want to go, and if you're lucky, you're leaving.
So we'll catch you later there. Okay, so Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to unplug your computer to get out of this podcast. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
Oh no, the computer died. I don't have a battery on me.
Oh gosh. Oh golly.
Oh no. Oh, it's my computer died.
Is Milwaukee specifically?
No, it's very Wisconsin, but I would say
Wisconsin?
largely
Yeah,
Midwest. But I
Wisconsin.
think it's a Wisconsin thing for sure.
That's he's a huge influencer. Charlie, is it Charlie Barris?
Yep.
Barons. Yeah,
Whoa.
he is a hilarious comedian. Do you know who he is, Ami?
I don't.
Oh, he just rips on Wisconsin with his Manitowoc Minute and like reads Craigslist ads, at least how he started on like Facebook is where I first saw him. And then he blew up. He's got again over 1 million, but he has amazing content. And then he also collaborates with people on both coasts. So I think that's even to like with Jamar's question, like, hey, do you want to really just focus on Milwaukee? That's probably all you need to for what you're doing. Cause then someone could be like, you know what? We want you to do that in Hawaii, what you do for them. We want you to come over here to Bali. I don't know. You could get like, once you have a name for being good at what you're doing, then those other opportunities,
they come through.
There's no reason why it can't be a travel thing. Like if you want to get the Southeastern Wisconsin audience, I'll come visit and do whatever and tell my audience about this location. But it doesn't, I would say if it was like 85% dominated city of Milwaukee, 5% the suburbs, and then 10% travel, or change up those percentages a little bit, I think it works.
I do think that if you don't want 1 million people to like you, you want 1,000 people to love you. And that's true. I feel, that's the longer game. Like having real, authentic community that you've built,
that's what
is better than just having, I'd rather go deep, not wide. I can't resist.
Yep. There we go. Love it.
Hit us with a macro, and then but you got to be micro.
Nima does macro patience, macro, micro. Like to anybody else, luckily for Jmatt, he doesn't give a fuck about other people's opinions.
I don't.
Oh shoot. Oh man, I actually learned that in the book I read a long time ago called Tour Smart. It's all about how to tour and grow an audience, and people want the millions of followers, but it's like all you need is 1,000. That's all you need. That's all you need. You can eat and live good.
Everybody's talking about the nano and the micro influencers right now because they truly have influence over those that follow them. The people with 1,000 followers up to 10,000 followers. You get to 1 million followers, you're reaching a fraction of your audience, and they more or less think you're selling out, or what you're endorsing is because of money or whatever. But if you're endorsing something when you get a small following, you're more likely to have those one-on-one conversations with people.
Oh,
Jmatt, talk more about that. You hit on something like when I hear something, especially I've never really thought about that. I think a lot of people don't think about how powerful that can be to being like, you don't have to sell out. You can be really authentic. You can really focus on whatever you care about. Like we've seen things too, like people with video games. You can play just one video game, one specific one that you think no one else cares about, but there's people just like you and they want to see your content. They want to hear what you think about it because they're so passionate about the thing. Can you say more about that? Because I think that's a great point for people.
I mean, we could even break it down even smaller than a nano influencer. Think of one of your close friends. And if your close friend came to you and said, hey, I know you're really into this style of food, you should check out this restaurant. You're probably going to do it. We all have, it sounds like a weird thing to say out loud, but we all have influence over others. We all have somebody's ear. We all have somebody that if we talk to, they'll listen to what we have to say. And if you start building on that with more of your friends, and then their friends of a friend start following you, you can slowly ramp it up and build it up. But essentially what we need to be thinking about it as is they're all your friends. Even if you haven't met them before, if you treat your followers or subscribers as friends, you'll have that better relationship with them in the long run.
That's a sound bite.
Gems, bro.
That's a sound bite. That's micro content you're creating for us right there.
You're welcome. I'll collect my royalties later.
Yes. Well,
this was the goal all along. This was my goal the whole time.
Can we go that? Okay, great. Because I think this is a really important component. I'll stop.
Don't stop.
No, we need more. Don't
Gary
stop.
V needs content from you. Every time he hears you, he's like, oh, I'm going to work that into my next video.
Yeah, art started to imitate life at some point. I mean, I was being used in his videos and vice versa. So
I first saw, and I think you clipped it on there. It was on Andrew Schultz. I think it came on, and he said he appreciated you guys so much, and he loved it. And at first, I was like, "Well, is he just doing that and saying he loves you guys because you guys are like, taking the piss on him? What is it called? Come on, help me out from the British slang. You're taking the piss out of him, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's it. There you go. You're shitting on him a little bit, but like in a friendly way.
But he eats shit, so that's okay.
That's right. So you're creating
Only
more.
on Sundays.
He's like, yeah.
He ate shit for 40 years, so he loves to be shat on. It's food.
So like, hold on though, but when you talked to him directly, did you get this authentic thing? Like he was like, man, I love what you guys are doing. Or is he just like, whatever, people will love it? Like, did you get an authentic feel that he loves that you guys imitate him?
Yeah, he's legit. What you see is what you get. He's one of the first, like, I guess you could call celebrities that was very much, when you meet a celebrity that you've seen on like movies or TV, there's something about it that when you meet them, they just like they look different. They have a different essence. They're not in makeup. You're just like, oh yeah, it's them, but they are somewhat not recognizable in like real life in a way.
100%. Yeah.
But Gary is out on his sleeve online, and that's his brand, and it's himself. And he's not like he can talk like a normal person, but it's also like very much genuine and practices what he preaches in terms of, he did genuine. It wasn't just like he was present and was a mensch. He was like a good guy, and he was, he's like, he was like, I'm just honestly like so stoked you guys are here. I think the work you're doing is incredible. Like he was very supportive.
I loved what he said. He's like, I love that he could also lead to you guys being successful because like you can imitate him. And it's like, so he's also felt that was a compliment. Like I did something that people want to make fun of that makes them super popular. Like that was another thing that he got excited and stoked about.
Yeah. The thing that makes me like so happy right now, what's happening are these 5 or 6 impersonators that impersonate me. I'm talking about Gary Vee, talking about me, talking about me, talking about me. It's really meta right now, right? I think meta is severely underrated. Meta, I think, is the future. No, so he was he was very cool about it. And the whole buildup, he was teasing it. He would talk about us, he started to DM, started to comment, then started to mention on podcasts. So it was I kind of knew what was going on when he was talking about it already, that VCon was going to be happening. Because I think on the Flagrant 2 podcast, they even said, like, Andrew Schultz was like, yo, you got to bring it to VCon. It's like, you got to bring these guys to yo, you got to bring you have to do it. You have to bring it to VCon. And he was like, we'll see. It's a possibility. We'll see. He played it cool, but it was official. Like we knew that we were coming.
I knew it had to be. I knew it had to be.
Gary Vee was like,
I knew it.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that was only like 2 weeks separated. So I knew, I'm like, holy crap. I just saw him talking about them. And look at this. He's on there. I'm showing Jamar. I'm like, look at his feed. This is crazy. Look at what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Fun.
So what's next for you, man? What's I asked Jmatt, so I got to ask you, man, what's next?
For me, I'm still in that, like, this is all chapter 1 as far as content creation goes of development, building an audience, building a community. And then, I have a couple things I'm working on when it comes to translating all the comedy stuff I've been doing online into a live show where it's stand-up and maybe some musical stuff too that eventually I could fuse together. But I'm really working on stand-up a lot and trying to do more of that and get comfortable with the craft and the format and just building up my minutes in terms of my set. So that's my like current thing that I'm doing more sets around New York and stuff and spots with different shows. And then you get to this point where you're like, okay, how can I turn this from like a passionate, cool, exciting new thing to the next phase where it's sustainable business, and that involves the podcast and the fan support and Patreon and just I'm sort of, that's sort of on the horizon for me of the next steps, like taking this excitement and support in the form of followers, likes, comments, and engagement and translating that into people who become actual patrons, into patronage,
right,
and that kind of support. And I'm still sort of figuring out how to do that. I've spoken to some brands and some people, and there's been some cool opportunities in terms of live stuff I've done along the way, but to have a consistent consistent revenue and consistent support on a monthly basis through something like Patreon or fan support, to me, is the strongest and most rock solid
Yeah.
way you can get to as a creator, because brand deals come and go, and I don't know enough about that world, but sometimes you know you're questioning if you can run into issues where you're not sure if you're the if you become more of like a service industry, a fee for service kind of thing. Use your comedic services to support this brand, and while that can be fun, and I'm okay doing it for the right price, I'm okay doing it because this is the person. Ads are a part of media. It's a part of entertainment. This is brought to you by such and such, like sponsorships. Like that's how the business is funded, especially when the consumer is not paying directly for entertainment. So I'm open to that too. But patronage to me is the no middleman. It's you and the fan, and they're directly supporting you, and that's very difficult. But I'm excited about expanding into that space.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, so you basically just said like your next step is
I'm saying I want to get paid.
Well, when you go on tour and you stop here, we can patronage you here.
Yeah.
Hey,
will be a stop. Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Part of the tour. It's part of the tour.
So, and TikTok's a funny place. Like you get all this attention, and it's digital and it's amorphous. Who are these people? What is all this? So where are they? I'm sometimes I'm like I'm at an airport, and somebody comes up to me randomly, and they'll be like, "Loving the impressions, man." I'm like, "What?" And it feels so surreal, because back in the day, if you got like on a network TV show, and then people started recognizing you, you'd very easily be able to connect the dots. You'd say, well, now I'm on the show. The show has such and such ratings. It has such and such audience. There's metrics. It's established how my presence is becoming known. But with TikTok, it's all over the place, and you just don't even know. Like, for all I know, I have like 1,000 super fans in Taiwan. I have no idea. That's the weird.
And you got to find that out.
It's the weird, exciting power of TikTok. Like, you just don't know. So how to capitalize on that, monetize that, make that into a sustainable entity is part of my next vision of.
Yeah, for sure. Jmatt knows all his fans are in Milwaukee, so
not all of them, but enough of them. But I'm just like thinking over here, like, Ami, you just let me look at your analytics. I'll tell you where your secret core fans are. I can find them out real fast for you.
Yeah, I've heard really cool things about the text community where you get approved by what's the where you can actually get people. To me, I've seen people have success. Really fascinating with being able to fill up rooms. And I asked them, like, comic friends, I'm like, how did you do that? Like, did you just post on your Instagram story and people showed up? And it's like, no, I created a text I've heard that really exciting things about the power of the text platform to build community. So look into that.
That's something that's absolutely something that we have done for people. It's a very big popular thing for artists to do. And so that's like as intimate as you can get with people, short of them showing up in person, is what are they willing? They're willing to give you their phone, and they're okay with it. They're okay with you texting them. And I think if you have you're not abusing that privilege, that could be a very strong way to reach people directly. I was just listening to somebody who he was creating content as a coach, though. And so he had his segmented list of people he could text to. And he's like, I texted it out to 70 people and 16 people bought, or, whatever his thing was. But it was all part of how he segmented and reached out to people directly and sold a product. Now, for your comedy is the product. I don't know if you could sell that directly, but can you fill a show? Can you fill a city with it? That's pretty cool. What about people you would partner with? Is there anybody that in the industry that you could open for? I mean, I know this is all regular stuff, but is there any of that opportunity where you could be on someone else's tour as well? Yeah,
that comes with just being more active in the stand-up circuit, which I'm in now, which basically, there's a structure to it where the ways to get on stage, to get the stage time is, people host different kinds of shows, and, you get your first, tight 5, tight 7, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And eventually, if you could fill up a room at a local club, you can headline, and then you can partner up if you're filling up rooms locally, so that's a little bit of a ways away. Right now, I'm in that like real craft part of it where I'm writing jokes, bringing them on stage and seeing how it works, and like, tightening the set and tightening the material as much as possible. But there is a process, and that the general answer is being active in the stand-up scene, and you meet other comics, and then one comic sees your set here, or you meet the same kind of people, and you form relationships with people who then have tours or shows, or shows that they want to put you on to, like different people. It's a lot of comedians who host and say like, I'm doing this at the stand, and you go to their stuff and like just become known in the scene of your colleagues.
Gotta be in it.
Yeah.
Well, so like similar to that, Jmatt, with yours, when you're looking for, because I know we talked a little bit about monetizing and creating content for people, is it just purely organic? You wait for those things to come in? Are you going out there and reaching out to them and say, hey, I could really help you get more traffic into your restaurant? Like, how do you find people that want to work with you?
Right now, since I have a full-time job, I don't really reach out to people. I just, based on what I do locally, I get people to reach out to me once a week, if not a little bit more. I'm hiring a personal assistant in a couple weeks. So theoretically that person will do outreach on my behalf and start bringing that in. But like what people don't see on the side, and I hear from other content creators on TikTok frequently that, what you're seeing isn't the whole picture. You're seeing what I'm putting out there for TikTok, but I'm also social media coaching people on the side. I'm also being hired as a freelance content creator to make the short form videos for them to post to their account, not to my account. And if my voice or my face isn't in that content at all, you'd never know that maybe a video you just saw was actually my creation. So,
so there's a side bit, like there's a side business.
There's so many different avenues within social media, digital marketing, content creation that you can go down. And then there's like webinars you could host workshops, host events, all that sort of stuff. So
the tricky thing is there's a lot of brands there's a lot of like people, opportunities to say no to in the early, the people that come and say, hey, can we send you a loaf of bread? And you make a video with it? And I'm like, no.
Right.
Or can we send you some cookies? And it's like a trick. It's like, post about our cookies. And then you realize, wow, they've gotten me to make a free video for them. Cookies were good. Or I was like, hey, join our affiliate marketing program. We make baby monitors. Can we send you one? And you make a video. So some people are asking you to do it for free. And then some people are saying, can you make 15 videos of the coldest water? And you're like, what?
Oh gosh, that's the worst. Anytime you see somebody with the coldest water in their video, you're like, you got scammed, man.
But I'll be honest, like when you first start as a content creator, and then somebody reaches out to you as a brand without you reaching out to them, you're just like, whoa, somebody just reached out to me because the videos I've been making. That's
$8 a video, cool.
But then you look beneath, but then you peel back that hood, and you're like, okay, there's a lot here to say no to. This is the stuff that's encouraging, and you wait till the next level up of like brands that can actually, offer to compensate you properly, and that's something worth working with as a partnership. And I think it's obvious when to say yes to, or it's more, it's not so complicated, if it's.
I would say if you get that one offer, don't be afraid to say no if it's not the right fit, because if you already got one offer, there's more coming. Yeah. You just have to stay consistent with what you're doing, and then the right offer will come your way eventually.
Yeah. You don't think it's coming. You don't think there's more coming, but this is the first one and only one I've ever gotten.
You're about to see the waterfall come through.
Yeah. Well, how do you decide between, diluting your brand or maybe misusing your audience, promoting something like that versus like, hey, I should take this because then it also advertises that I do a little bit. And I think if I do it in a unique way, it's not going to offend anyone. And then people will think of me again. Like, is there any balance there where sometimes just like anything in life, Gary, you got to eat a little shit every once in a while. Like you got to promote things that maybe you're like, this is okay. It's not perfect, but I'm going to do it anyway. Where is there a balance there? Is there anything there of like, okay, I'll do this one?
I think what a lot of people starting out don't do for themselves, they don't advocate for themselves. So let's say there's a brand that is the right fit and they offer you a deal and they say, we want you to make video, and this campaign, we want you to do X, Y, and Z. Just because they want it doesn't mean you have to do it if it doesn't genuinely fit with your style and the content you make. If the brand could still be a good fit, but if they're giving you too many requirements, it's okay to push back and negotiate and say, okay, well, I know this is the product you want me to push. If I did it in this way, it could resonate with my audience better, get better engagement. But a lot of people will find the brand that they want to work with And regardless what they offer, they're afraid because if they push back, maybe they'll drop them or maybe it won't work out or they'll say no.
Yeah.
But really, you're the ownership. You're the personal brand. You've got to advocate for yourself and push for what you know should work. I wouldn't say you know what will, because it's content. You never know for sure.
But you know your audience best. So that's, so you got to, draw the line there with them. I've heard this before too, because they try to push and say, oh, you got to do it this way. You got to do it this way. It's like, that doesn't work. Or it's like a super polished video that they want done, but it's like your content is like quick and, quick form type content.
Yep.
And it's like with your phone, but they're like, no, can you have it with this camera? Can you do this? Like all these specs. And you're like, that's not what I do. I don't think you understand. Just because you see the audience that I have, the number that's there, doesn't correlate to like, I got to make this type of content. So I've heard that before, and it's spot on. You got to take control of what your brand is, and I think that's any company. You got to just own it, of just who you are, and best of what's going to work.
Yeah, I heard an interview with Larry the Cable Guy quoting Jeff Foxworthy, but he was saying that show business is a show and a business, and without the business, no one sees the show. So if it's not something that is ethically or morally compromising you, and all of your fans that love watching what you do aren't supporting and paying for that content, but somebody is willing to so that you can make it, there's nothing wrong with that transaction. I mean, commercials, ads, sponsorships, podcasts, it's all funded by people who are trying to, utilize the attention that you have and the reach that you have for their stuff. So it's a trade, but as long as you can spin it into something entertaining, like if you think of Bill Burr's, ad reads that are hilarious. They're some of the funniest parts of his podcast,
Yes.
So he's like, dude, what is this? Oh my God, dude. They're hilarious when he reads them. So he's not compromising because he's turning it into comedy and the people are still getting the attention. So if you can make it work, I would imagine that's where I would draw the line. If somebody can help me make a video with higher production quality and more resources and provide me with that, fair trade.
Well, he's being authentic. Sure. It doesn't matter what he's selling because he authentically rips everybody. If anybody says anything to him, whenever he's on an interview, he does the same thing.
Can't believe I'm reading this shit. Can't believe I'm reading this shit. Dude. Yeah.
So that's got to be a key. You got to be like, whatever you're hawking, make sure it's authentically you and people will still appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Joe Rogan has ads. I just mean like this is like, it's a part of it's part of the business model. That's how it's done.
Yeah, very few people don't. I mean, some people are more obnoxious with them than others. I'm like, geez, can you guys get more than 20 minutes before I hear another what is it? I was gonna call it Simple Green. What the heck are the Athletic Greens? Greens. It is funny that certain companies though, they seem to, and I don't know if they have a network. I've noticed guests go on certain podcasts like in a row. They're always like, if so and so has them, they're going to be on their podcast next.
Yeah,
but it seems
they're doing a PR run.
Yes,
PR,
yes. But it's like always a certain ones. Like again, I like Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu, and then it's always like Lewis Holmes. Like they'll always have, if it's Mel Robbins is on both of those.
Lewis Holmes.
Someone else.
Just like
We got to zoom in because this is 90% the face that you're.
Doesn't matter what somebody's saying. So what I did was I would hold in going to the bathroom for weeks at a time to build up a resilience. Yeah, that sounds really smart. Yeah. Think about your family. Would you give them up? No. Great point. I wouldn't give my family up.
Oh, God.
Wow. Tom Bilyeu is also just like,
I gotta hear an Impact Theory one because I'm a big Tom Bilyeu fan. Do you got one?
I did Tom Bilyeu's face for Tom Bilyeu at VCon. I was just like, Tom Bilyeu.
Oh, that's right. He's a VCon. I remember seeing him in your video. Yes.
And Jesse Itzler was there too. Right? How many times we can see your parents? Right? Come on.
Oh man. Yeah, this is good stuff. This is good stuff.
Well, Yeah. Hold on, Jones. If you want to get him, we can kick him to the curb. We can kick him off.
I mean,
I've loved
I
it
don't
though.
want to keep you guys here all night. I mean, this is
This is the Midwest. There is no goodbye.
Yeah, it's getting late for me here. I'm on the East Coast.
Yeah,
No,
We're
for sure.
one time zone behind you.
Yeah, I'm getting delirious.
Who set this time? Who picked this time anyway? Who
Yeah,
picked
I
this
was
late
like 10 p.m. Where did that come from?
I thought it was like 6 we were shooting for, and then it was
He's
like,
got to put the
all right,
kids
well,
down. He's a
9.
family man. He's a family
Absolutely.
man. Yes.
Oh, man.
I actually
Indeed.
loved that video you did where you were kung fu fighting your kids.
Classic.
I now if I could put, I had to put my own. I couldn't do the voice impersonation, but I'm like, I know what Jordan Peterson would tell you, and he would be proud of you.
Rough and tumble play. Yes,
You got it.
it's bloody
For the-
important.
For the viewers, you got to tell them what you were doing, because what you were doing was great. It was a
I
different
was-
content that you normally do. I think it was perfect though.
Oh, thank you. No, I filmed me kicking the crap out of my kids playfully, but to Mortal Kombat music, which was fun. I
Nice.
love it.
Nice.
Yeah, he's
Well
like
done.
sweeping the leg and
Yeah.
kung fu fighting him and knocking him down, and they'd come at him and they were loving it. They were
Yeah.
loving the rough and tumble play.
Rough and tumble play. There's the leprechaun, Randy the leprechaun. They were loving
Damn
the
it.
rough and tumble play. Oh, they were loving the rough and tumble play, weren't they?
They were trying to get me Lucky Charms, but I wouldn't let them.
Oh dear, you got me going on Mrs. Doubtfire, dear. Oh dear, the rough and
Oh.
tumble play, dear. Oh,
Oh, who's the
man.
guy who looks just like a young Robin Williams and sounds exactly like him? Do you know who I'm talking about?
there's a guy who did that short film promo. I don't know.
Where he just kept. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He did a like a not. I was gonna call him
Tribute
Luke Skywalker.
thing.
Obi-Wan. He did like an Obi-Wan video. Same guy. I don't know his
Yeah.
name, but he's great.
It's very
And
good.
His Robin Williams is amazing. He does other
Yeah.
people too, but
Jamie
like he
Costa?
looks like it. Is that it?
Yes,
Maybe.
yes, that's the one.
Are you doing our research? Are you basically
Every
our
podcast
Jamie?
that has, like,
Hey, I'm just
More
saying.
people
I
are
used to be
more-
in radio producer. I know how this
Yeah.
works.
you're on it, man. Yeah.
Jay,
You
Yeah.
gotta
Pull
have
that
the
shit up,
the
Jamie.
answer right away.
Pull that
you
shit up,
gotta-
Jmatt.
But you got to say it like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
It's
Pull it out,
actually
pull it out.
his name is Jim Acosta. He's an impressionist, and he does he's got a little film coming out, short film talking about Robin Williams. He released it in 2019, I think, and it did pretty well. It went viral.
Oh, thanks,
You
Jay.
even impersonate JV? You even impersonate JV? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing a couple impersonations of Jamie also on the Joe Rogan podcast for a few years, and yeah. So
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for being on this podcast and giving people some insight, even just behind the scenes of your life, what's going on, where you're trying to go, and also some tactics of how to be a content creator and what is the world of content creation. I think we dove into a lot of different topics and a lot of good fun stuff too at the same time, which is pretty dope. So where can people find you at? Drop
Yeah,
some,
let's give it one
some
at a
tags
time.
here.
Let's give you a shout out. Who we want first? How about Jmatt? Jmatt, I'm gonna give you the floor. Tell us everything you want us to know about you and more.
Yeah, my personal cell phone number is. I'm just kidding. I'm not giving that.
Don't do that.
Same social handle everywhere. Jmatt MKE, JMATT MKE, and then my website is #MKE. Write the word #MKE.com. That's all I got.
Nice.
Boom. Let's get on.
Nice. I can be found at AJ-Comedy across all social media on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, also known as Ami Kozak Official. Sometimes the AJ-Comedy thing can lead you astray to other random weird accounts. But anyway, Ami Kozak Official, aka AJ Comedy on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And follow me on Instagram for updates on shows and dates and videos daily.
Sweet. Well, thank you
What
guys
about your
so
band,
much.
though? What about
Yes.
your band?
Oh,
Thank you
yeah,
for
yeah.
that. Thank you for that. The
I'm gonna
band.
promote you better than you're
Hey,
gonna promote you.
yeah.
I
good
appreciate
job,
that.
Randy.
Thank you for
Good
the
job.
reminder. Band is called Distant Cousins. DistantCousinsOfficial.com. All of our socials are there. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere that music is streamed and played. We're based kind of in Los Angeles. We play all over the country, but a lot of shows locally in Los Angeles. And we also write for film and TV and all that. You can see all of our credits and all of our music on our website at DistantCousinsOfficial.com. I could also do radio, Jmatt. What do you think now? Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Hey!
What I'm thinking though is when you go on tour with your band, the opening act could be your comedy stand-up. That's his thing.
Interesting.
Just merge them together.
Interesting. Well, that's Distant Cousins official with AJ Comedy opening at what's the theater in Milwaukee?
Anyone you want. Pfizer.
Pfizer, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the Oak Tour.
You're gonna get a letter from Charlie on that one if you try to steal his oak.
Whoa. He took that from the locals.
He's probably got it trademarked as we speak.
Probably.
Thank you guys so much.
been fun, guys. Thank you.
Hey, it's been fun. And stay tuned, guys, to the next episode of the Forever Podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Peace. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for more amazing content that we're going to be putting out. And don't forget, you can change your circle to change your life.